The Afghan Army Chief of Staff is reporting that 16 civilian massacres by a U.S. soldier was pre-planned by a squad that deliberately targeted the village of Balandi. Lieutenant General Sher Mohammad Karimi's statement is boldly in contradiction to the official statement put out by NATO forces after the incident. As you'll recall, the 16 civilians were massacred by U.S. forces several days ago, including 9 children in the Pajwi district. At that time, NATO and the U.S. insisted that it was the work of a single lone wolf gunman, despite several statements by witnesses that they saw an entire group of soldiers. One of the victims, a 15-year-old boy who was shot in the leg, spoke to Afghan President Hamid Karzai personally. Lieutenant General Karimi says he visited the scene of the crime and spoke to the relatives of the victims before reporting back to Karzai on Friday. He personally inspected the location where the incident took place and insisted that he speak to the man implicated in the shooting. Despite his request, NATO would not allow him to speak to Staff Sergeant Robert Bales, who is being held for the incident. In addition, Karimi criticized the American investigation team for refusing to cooperate with him on the investigation. The results of his report is that it must have been 15 to 20 troops that carried out the massacre. Witnesses of the incident say that the counterinsurgency operation had received air support and that they had also been brought in by military helicopter. The Afghan parliamentary investigation team concluded that the killing was a deliberate action and not something that could have been carried out by a single man or even done spur of the moment. It's clear to them that NATO is trying to cover up the incident. News of Bale's removal from Afghanistan to Qatar and to the U.S. has angered the Afghan government and population, where many want him to stand trial in the country. John Henry Brown, the lawyer for Bales, insists that the case against his client is not a criminal one. He cited multiple combat tours, suffering head trauma and other wounds, and fatigue as possible reasons for his actions. He also said that his client may have been intoxicated at the time. Despite adamant claims by NATO forces to be attempting to help the population of Afghanistan, more and more massacres like this one are occurring, and many more have yet to be uncovered. Imperialism always has excuses for the inhuman things they do to people they are occupying and controlling. Combat fatigue is a common excuse given for murders carried out by imperialist soldiers. This is no excuse. This war has nothing to do with the betterment of the lives of the Afghan people. This is all about control over a country with a huge potential for mining. It's incidents like these that show the true face of the U.S. empire aided by its running dogs in NATO. The only solution is a full withdrawal of all foreign forces from the country.